Just getting a couple more bits set up here and then I'll begin. I'm going to start off playing some old mellophonic music to save everyone from all the AI generated stuff. I'm still working on my old computer, so I've just got to take it easy because it might crash.
Eyes up, phones off, doors shut. Don't think, take in. Nice drink, cold grin. Slugged in, control, remote. I know. Switch off the screen, entertain me. Lights down, eyes up, phones off, doors shut. Don't think, take in. Nice drink, cold grin. Switch off, lay back. Nice soft meat rack. Outside shots ring, inside we sing. Sing, 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 sing. Entertain me. Entertain me. Entertain me. 1,000 minds we gotta sing. Switch myself into easy pain. Feel my isolation on the screen. I'm in between. You pit a tiger against a man. Fight his way out if you can. Have we not seen it all before? We need it more. Lights down, eyes up, phones off, doors shut. Don't think, take in, nice drink, cold drink, swell in control. Remote, I know, switch off the screen, entertain me. Swell in control. Remote, I know, switch off the screen, entertain me. Lights down, eyes up, phones off, doors shut. Outside shots ring, entertain me.
Whoopsie. Slipped out there. Accidentally stopped that. These are a couple of mellophonic songs. That was Russian Rampage. It's a slightly different tone to it these days. I wrote that must have been 20 years ago. And same with the one before it. Got one more of those to play and then I'll crack on. It's kind of fun listening to these old songs. There's the other one. Here we go. I did a boo-boo there, didn't I? I was playing two songs at the same time. I could only hear one of them. I'm supposed to set this stuff up probably before doing a show, and I I was just finding one more. Got one more mellophonic song to play called Disco Blitz. And then I promise I'll crack on. I've got some pretty cool stuff to talk about this week. Got new sequencer, new technology on the horizon, new collection coming, which also comes with its own technology. Yeah, cool stuff on the horizon. One more mellophonic song, and then I will crack on with it. I'll try not to muck this one up and make it too loud or play two songs at the same time. Let's see. Bitcoin Live guys were just talking to me earlier and telling me I needed to make sure I was off the air by a certain time. But then they said just before I went on air, but that actually it was open. So I'm enjoying playing a bit of this old music. So I might just play a couple more. These are old Mellophonic songs, my old band from 20 years ago. They've never seen the light of day. I wouldn't be able to play them otherwise, would I? Otherwise YouTube would be censoring them. Yeah, this one's called Super User.
I'm a super user, I'm a secret super duper, I'm a secret super user, I am a charlatan accuser. I'm a super user, I'm a secret super duper, I'm a secret super user, I am a charlatan now. Yeah. I'm a super user, I'm a secret super duper, I'm a secret super user, I am a charlatan now. I'm a super user, I'm a secret super duper, I'm a secret super user, I am a charlatan accuser. Yeah.
if this is over or not. I can't remember what I did with this one.
Yeah.
This is not the mix I remember listening to
Yeah.
last night.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. There's one more I found which I got my wife to sing on. Play that. Then I'll reveal. Very special Bitcoin ordinals.
Baby, round and round. Don't you know it's the same old sound, yeah. Oh yeah. Ready, keep singing, baby, round and round. Don't you know it's the same old sound, yeah. Oh yeah. Lipstick on your shirt. Boy, you know it hurt, 'cause it wasn't mine. Said it wasn't mine. I gave you all my trust, and now it's turned to dust. You were my boyfriend. I said my boyfriend.
Okay, so getting to now, more music coming, but this is going to be the new collection. You might have seen some of this. I've shown a few of these, but there's a collection coming, so stay tuned for this. But this is the first Opus song that I inscribed on chain, high resolution audio, but at a fraction of the cost of regular audio. So this is like a breakthrough in itself, that we can now inscribe audio so cheaply to the chain.
A distant sine wave floats like dawn fog. Soft clicks imitate blockchain heartbeats at rest. Opus's economy gressed as elegance, shrinking the cosmos into pocket-sized constellations. 10,000 kilobytes shed their weight, glide into the ledger on carbon light wings. Compression is compassion, freeing space so more voices fit the auditorium. Efficiency is ethics. Why waste bytes when bytes are forever? In BAM, each decibel carries dual citizenship. Artistic and archival, creative and cryptographic. The codex signs a peace treaty between fidelity and frugality, both winning, neither conceding ground. My diction, close your eyes, hear the details still intact. Symbol wash like sea spray, synth harmonics glinting off the e-depth cliffs. Opus encoded, your lullaby can cross oceans offline, bounce between satellites and rural nodes, yet unpack as high-risk comfort in a lonely headset. The future is lightweight, sound traveling at the speed of confirmation. In this economy of resonance, your quietest idea spends nothing but earns eternity. Opus of efficiency, let your whisper linger. The chain records, the world exhales. Space saved for the next dreamer to enter.
I've got one more of these lined up here. There's loads of different versions of this, loads of different timelines, if you will. Yeah, have a look. This is another version here.
A distant sine wave floats like dawn fog. Soft clicks imitate blockchain heartbeats at rest. Opus's economy gressed as elegance, shrinking the cosmos into pocket-sized constellations. 10,000 kilobytes shed their weight, glide into the ledger on carbon light wings. Compression is compassion, freeing space so more voices fit the auditorium. Efficiency is ethics. Why waste bytes when bytes are forever? In BAM, each decibel carries dual citizenship. Artistic and archival, creative and cryptographic. The codex signs a peace treaty between fidelity and frugality, both winning, neither conceding ground. My diction, close your eyes, hear the details still intact. Symbol wash like sea spray, synth harmonics glinting off the e-depth cliffs. Opus encoded, your lullaby can cross oceans offline, bounce between satellites and rural nodes, yet unpack as high-risk comfort in a lonely headset. The future is lightweight, sound traveling at the speed of confirmation. In this economy of resonance, your quietest idea spends nothing but earns eternity. Opus of efficiency, let your whisper linger. The chain records, the world exhales. Space saved for the next dreamer to enter.
There'll be an opportunity to get yourself, get your hands on one of those. Like I said, there's loads of different, videos, if you will, loads of different animations. Yeah, keep an eye out for that. And following on from that, we're going to be then moving into KP Loops territory, which is exciting. That's going to be the first library coming out on BAM. That's the Bitcoin Ordinal Matrix. I'll give you a little glimpse of that if I can. Do I have? Here we go. Oh, hang on, that's zoomed in. Anyway, have a read of that. But the first library, so this is like bringing out audio libraries which we can then start to use in the Ordinal sequencer. If you don't know what that is, have a look at ordinals.com. You can play with the sequencer on there, but there's a new sequencer coming which I'm about to show you as well, which is super exciting. And this is really these libraries are going to start to open up a whole world of music making on chain, using Ordinal sequencer, also using other applications being made by other platforms like the Beatblocks guys, Tiny Vikings, all these different platforms who are starting to create different tooling for getting music on chain. And eventually we're going to have the whole process should be on chain, from concept to mixing to mastering to distribution, all of it in this on-chain environment where it all benefits from being under this umbrella of the magic of blockchain. We can have these kind of infinitely complex ledgers that will always record everything. That's what I'm moving towards with Ordinals, is the idea that we should be able to have a digital audio workstation that every single time we press save, whether we're working on our own work or working on someone else's work, it's a transactional thing. And so that every song in its very DNA can express all the work that went into creating it. Even work that didn't make the final cut would still be recorded in that history that we can, very much put into practice with blockchains. So right, let me just see if I can zoom out here, because what I want to show you is the KP Loops library, which is coming, which is a collaboration with Kieran Pepper, ex-live drummer from The Prodigy, if you've ever heard of that band. So very exciting to be bringing him into the on-chain world. He's amazing guy, super into what we're doing here, super into the innovation of it all. He's really big into education, really interesting guy. In fact, he's going to come on a show, I think we've penciled in the 25th of June, so he'll be joining me on one of these shows. So we'll have Kieran Pepper on the show, live drummer from the Prodigy. That's just one band. If you have a look, in fact, let me just, while I'm saying this, let's go and have a look at on BAM. I'll show you his library. So we go libraries, so you go into ordinals.com/BAM. I think you can get, there's a link to BAM from the ordinals.com page. Libraries, KP Loops, and we'll see here, KP Loops, Kieran Pepper. I'm sure there's a bio here somewhere. Here we go. So Prodigy 97 to 2007. I know he's also currently with Sleeper. I know they've been doing a lot of stuff recently. I think they've got a tour coming up. Wargasm, Spitfire Audio, BBC Radiophonic Workshop, and is now really getting into education. And what we've got here is a whole load of samples that he's recorded himself, which he's basically allowing to be sold, so that you can actually own a KP loop recorded by Kieran Pepper, but you can be the sample owner. One of the things that I'm trying to show with Audinals is how we can create these really complex Merkle trees of rights. Your rights remain embedded in your work. You make a recording and you keep that recording in your wallet. When a song wants to use that recording has an owner on the blockchain. That recording can also contain itself, that file can also contain its own contract. So what I'm trying to sort out here is that we've got Kieran who records the samples, and that we then, when we create these ordinal HTML files, we can add some metadata in there, and some of that metadata could be Kieran's original address as the creator. But then, I think for most people, what you would then do is you would then create that and then keep that yourself. So you are just both the creator and the owner. But in this case, we're able to sell those samples. So now you already have begun that chain. You have the creator, but now you have the sample owner. And both of those people could potentially be royalty holders. And so when someone remixes a song and uses one of those samples, that sample is going to point to two places, one being the embedded address, the second being the current address, and so that gives you two potential royalty holders right there. And then this is just part of a song where you've got lots of different one hits and loops, and you've even got synthesizers, and you've got plugins like compressors and gates, reverb units. All of these things are also pieces of software created by a person, held, as everything is on the blockchain, by a wallet. That wallet just inheriting all the rights to that content. So if you think about audio, we're not necessarily recording a vocal track and putting it on Bitcoin because it's so expensive. We have got the price right down for that, but it's still possibly a bit expensive for most people. But once we start playing around with layer 2s, you'll really see the benefits of this, that we can then start to put stuff on chain. It can benefit from all the stuff that you get from the blockchain without the massive costs of Bitcoin necessarily, but still with all of the complex ledger, the complex maintenance of like rights. And so you can then say, right, here's my vocal track that I recorded. You remain the owner of that vocal track. It never needs a lawyer to connect your rights to the media, because the media is held in your wallet. But if someone creates an on-chain song that uses that vocal and then they go and sell that in a marketplace, the chain can tell you, yes, that's definitely using your vocal, and they've definitely made all of these sales. And so that's where the real world needs to come in and then police that and make sure that you get paid. But at least we can give them this perfect system where everything is completely, the truth is there for the performing rights organisations to leverage to actually pay fair royalties, rather than whoever happens to be on their lips this week, which is, they paint by numbers. They've had to do that for decades. So we need to just create a better system, and this is the beginning of that. But so to start with, it's like a historic thing here. You can own these drum loops that sort of kick off the BAM on-chain music library with a whole library of loops by Kieran Pepper. We've got another library planned after this with synth and bass. Like I said, he plays with Sleeper as well. He plays the bass for Sleeper. And then we've got some more artists kind of lining up to do some more libraries with BAM. And also some other builders in the space have been building some cool stuff, some cool sort of sandbox style synths, which hopefully we'll be able to get on the show soon and get into BAM, get into this kind of arena where hopefully people can just start building applications that can interact more easily, and we can start to build a kind of community driven digital audio workstation that everyone can, you basically should be soon. You should be able to just not only use a completely decentralized digital audio workstation, but actually program it yourself. Like literally, now we're in the world of AI. You should be able to also program your own reverb unit, for example, and then inscribe that reverb unit, and now other people can use your reverb. And if your reverb's really great, then you're going to get used in a lot of on-chain songs, and then again you're creating a really good digital fingerprint for yourself for in the future, hopefully, when this stuff starts to get actually administered by the real world, that you might see something genuinely valuable come out of it. At the moment it's just pure attribution, and people can do the right thing. When I sold the first single that I put out, Truth, I gave 20% of the profits that I received. I then passed on to the owners of the samples that I used. I think there were 16 samples in the song, and I split, I think it was around $3,000 between those 16 wallets in a decentralized way. Some of the holders of those wouldn't have even been aware of where that money came from, and I have no way of contacting them to tell them. But that's just a proof of concept, really. What we really need, like I said, is the performing rights organisations, or at least before that, the marketplaces, agreeing to something like that, to say, let's look at how this recursive thing works, and let's treat recursion as it should be, like a bunch of rights holders all involved in creating a final product. So it starts here. So that first collection of mine with the Opus song, that's then going to be linked to getting into the KP Loop sale, which is coming to a Ordinals marketplace near you soon. So let's have a look at, now this is, I don't know why I've called it this, but it's called ASX. Ordinals.com/ASX will get you to the new sequencer, which is here. And I'm going to have to see if I've got some files that I can use to demonstrate. Just give me a sec while I try and find the files I need to find to show this off. Oh no, that's right, I've built all the presets in, haven't I? That's what this whole show was supposed to be about, was about showing off how AI is going to sort of play a part. I'm not talking about creatively, just in terms of a helping hand when it comes to producing this stuff on chain. Right, let me just go back to where I was. Here we go. Right, so ordinals.com/ASX, and then I'm just going to turn this music off as well so we can see this. So if you go into presets, this is what was exciting. Was the other day I thought, right, I've got now a kind of schema for how this new sequencer is going to work. You can see here you've got each of these is a channel effectively. So this is a channel which would have an instrument on it. You can select instruments here, so you can go down. These are loops. We could get the 8-bit drum loop here, so that's, we'll make this 105, and then now that's playing through the sequence, but of course I've got to trigger this one. So if I put this on the first step here, it should trigger when it gets to the first step. So we can see that's 1 bar, so we've got to trigger it every 1 bar. I don't know if you can hear that actually. I've just realised you can't actually hear that, which is annoying. Wonder why. Okay, you might have to experience this for yourself. But if you go to ordinals.com/ASX, you can check this out. And these presets, what I was getting to was to say that these presets were basically, I gave like Gemini, or it might have been O3, the schema for how these sequence loops work. Then I gave it my very limited, to be fair, my very limited list of presets, and I basically had to cut it down to say use the one hits. Anything that's not got a BPM next to it, you can use that like a hit, which is basically, it had an option of, I think, 3 kicks and all of these OB1s. The rest of these are all loops, so it could only use one loop, because otherwise it was choosing, the algorithm was a bit simple and it was choosing all sorts of weird things. But again, if once the algorithm's a little bit more enhanced, and there's a big list of samples that it can access, not just these ordinal samples. These are all just basic base 64 text. It's a fraction of what's on chain. But once we can use that, we can start to program these. And so I just said, give me some basic styles. So give me a classic house rhythm. So select that, load, and it's going to load all the different samples that we're using in this beat, and then play. I forgot that, of course, when I'm broadcasting on OBS, my computer can't handle this stuff, so I'll have to keep it short. It's going to crash. Also, you can do sort of arpeggio. So I think on this one, again, I sort of told it some basic rules, and it's managed to grab. If we look down here, we've got bass. So look, it's called C root. So I think it's got multiple basses, which it's tuned using the pitch, because we've got this pitch shift built in, and so it's created multiple notes in order to create a melody from that bass note. What else we got in here? Experimental. So again, it's just come up with all of these itself. Some of them are better than others, but for the amount of time it took, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, I keep forgetting you can't hear that. So have a go and have a play. Let me know how you get on. It's very much beta at the moment, but again, just a bit of a sign of things to come. And some new technology that you can play with to start creating Web3 music. This is true Web3 music, not like the Web3 music that you've maybe seen before. This is Web3 music that is born and lives and breathes on chain in every sense. So get stuck in. Was there anything else? Bring that back up. I think that's about it. I've got one more demo here which says bad demo, but I think that's another Opus one. I'll show that as the outro, and then I'll call it a night. So yeah, hopefully I'll be back with the new computer at some point soon, and then we'll be able to actually show this stuff off a bit better. Anyway, let's have a look at this last Opus demo, and see you next time. Okay, that seems to have no audio, so maybe not. I'll just play the first one again, I guess.
A distant sine wave floats like dawn fog. Soft clicks imitate blockchain heartbeats at rest. Opus's economy gressed as elegance, shrinking the cosmos into pocket-sized constellations. 10,000 kilobytes shed their weight, glide into the ledger on carbon light wings. Compression is compassion, freeing space so more voices fit the auditorium. Efficiency is ethics. Why waste bytes when bytes are forever? In BAM, each decibel carries dual citizenship. Artistic and archival, creative and cryptographic. The codex signs a peace treaty between fidelity and frugality, both winning, neither conceding ground. My diction, close your eyes, hear the details still intact. Symbol wash like sea spray, synth harmonics glinting off the e-depth cliffs. Opus encoded, your lullaby can cross oceans offline, bounce between satellites and rural nodes, yet unpack as high-risk comfort in a lonely headset. The future is lightweight, sound traveling at the speed of confirmation. In this economy of resonance, your quietest idea spends nothing but earns eternity. Opus of efficiency, let your whisper linger. The chain records, the world exhales. Space saved for the next dreamer.